is an absolutely popular comedian out from out west. He's here trying to perform for you tonight. Guys, come on, let's bring him in,
What you guys doing? You guys doing all right? Someone earlier was like, oh, it's a biracial show. I'm like, how did I get on it? I guess it counts being from Saskatchewan? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I am from Saskatchewan. I moved out here a few years ago, and it's been good. I became a fan of the Maple Leafs. I started listening to Drake. I got hit by a car. I guess you could say I'm fitting in here, right? And getting hit by a car sucked. I don't know what was worse about it, the accident itself or telling my friends back home. I remember having a conversation with one buddy, and I was like, yeah, dude, I've got a concussion, I got hit by a car, and he was just like, He's like, what kind of car was it? I was like, it's a Civic. And he's like, oh, my dirt bike's bigger than a Civic. He's like, I hit my kid with my dirt bike, he bounced back, he'll be fine. I'm like, A, your dirt bike's not bigger than a Civic. B, you're 35, why are you dirt biking? And C, are you sure your kid's okay? Most people, when they move to a new city, they go check out a famous landmark or a museum or something, right? Not me. I moved here, I just was checking out trees the whole time. Right, because we don't have big trees in Saskatchewan. Honestly, the first maple I saw was when I got to Toronto. What? I remember looking at it and just being like, wow. I guess that's what this is all about. It was weird. I had to meet new friends, right? I was chatting up all these Toronto hipster dudes, right? They were like, hey man, you into D&D? Did you play D&D? Yeah! I was like, drinking and driving? Yeah! Woo! I'm from Saskatchewan. We just call that driving. So roads are completely straight. You kind of have to drink some beer to make it a bit of a challenge. Growing up in Saskatchewan, we drank Pilsner beer. Hey, I remember my first time going to get beer. It was a buddy's older brother. He was getting us booze, right? And I was like, oh, I'll get 12 kokanee. And he's like, no, you're getting Pilsner. And I was like, ew, gross. And then I learned to love it, right? And then it was at a point in time, it was all I drank, and then it was me and 3 buddies, we were all gonna get the same tattoo, and it was the Pilsner logo on our chest. And I'm so glad I didn't do it. They went through with it, and I'm like, I can't think of more of a red flag than having a beer company's logo tattooed on your chest. Especially when that beer company's logo is a red flag. Yeah? Saskatchewan's pretty boring, right? There's not big news headlines. There was a big news headline coming out of Saskatchewan I saw. It was called the Great Hay Bale Heist of Hazenmore. Yeah, these guys stole 12 bales of hay and it made national news. You understand how boring your province is when that's what's making news headlines? And how bad are these criminals, right? These guys had to decide they were going to rob dried up grass. They had to have a meeting, and one dude was like, oh, what should we rob this week, boys? Maybe a bank, maybe a jewelry store? And one dude was like, nah, let's get a flat deck trailer and go grab some hay bales. I wanted to know how profitable it could be, right? I posted the article in my Facebook. I was like, how much a bale of hay cost? And a buddy back home, he goes, it's $200 a bale, bud. Another guy comments, he goes, 300 in some parts, pal. I'm like, are you guys fighting about the price of hay in my comment session? I was like, $300 a bale, 12 bales. That's only $3,600. That's not a heist. That's theft under $5,000. It's not even headline worthy. And I swear, one of the news headlines, it said, hay crimes expected to rise. In southwest Saskatchewan, hay crimes. Right? Woo! Those journalists, they were working hard, right? Yeah. There's not much to talk about in Saskatchewan, though. Everybody in Saskatchewan, they love the Rough Riders, right? It was like, oh, the Rough Riders, right? And everyone's like, oh, it's the best fan base. And honestly, we kind of are. We're dedicated, right? I have actually carved out a watermelon, wore it on my head, went to a game in the middle of November, -20, and froze my tits off. Right? I remember being in the game and I was like, I think the watermelon is frozen, and I think it is frozen to my head, and the Rough Riders better win! They lost. Our family, we actually have like a collection of Rough Rider memorabilia. It's like all these bobbleheads, right? There's over like 30 different players. It's pretty impressive. We got every single one. But in order to get the bobblehead, you had to buy a bottle of whiskey. And like now this bobblehead collection's up on display at our cottage, and I'm like, I don't know if this is a good piece of collective memorabilia or just a sign my family drank too much. It was kind of like a weird family dynamic we had, right, growing up. Because my mom, she was a stay-at-home mom. And we have another word for stay-at-home mom in Saskatchewan. It's called an alcoholic. And it's like messed up because my dad was like this hobbyist winemaker. It got to a point in time where he couldn't keep up. Right? I was like, is this a chicken comes before the egg or the egg comes before the chicken scenario? Who created this monster, right? We had to have a family meeting. My dad sat us all down and he's like, look guys, I can't keep putting bread and wine on the table. He's like, you kids are going to have to help out, right? I remember I'd come home from school, my mom would be on the couch sleeping, watching Dr. Phil. And I'd be like, Mom, look, I got a B in math. I'm going to play street hockey. And she's like, there's bottling and corking to do. Get in the basement. Are we running a winery? What's happening, right? My parents didn't get along, so like, I remember we had like a board game night with this one family one time. I was like, oh, that's what a loving family looks like, right? and on the drive home, it was like super quiet, right? We're all hanging our heads in shame, right? Like a dog who had pooped in the living room. And my mom, Captain Vino, she breaks the silence. And she goes, wow, we're a loving family. She goes, I bet you their kids wouldn't talk to Shauna the way you guys talk to me. And my brother pipes up and he's like, well, I bet you Shauna doesn't sneak bottles of wine into her kid's hockey game and try and flash the ref. And it's like, here's the thing, it's like, I know my mom was like, I know she was numbing her trauma with the booze, right? I know that. She was numbing her trauma with the booze because her parents were from Alberta. And when you have grandparents from Alberta, you learn at a young age that climate change isn't real. I try and shake the Saskatchewan, but I can't get rid of it, you know? Like I was listening to this rap song the other day, and in this song, this guy goes, oh, I bought 1,000 acres, my own metropolis. I still hustle with dominance. I was like, oh, all right. I was like, well, where's the land, bud? There's 1,000 acres of land down in like New York or Miami. That's pretty boss, right? But 1,000 acres of land back in Saskatchewan, I'm like, that's only 6 quarter sections, bud. I can harvest that in like 2 days. I got a buddy back home. He's got 8,000 acres of land. And he's not boss, he's struggling. I don't think he pays taxes. Honestly, every single status of his on Facebook, he's like, oh, with the carbon tax and inflation, how can anyone provide for their family? And I'm like, take it easy, Cody. I'm pretty sure you hit your kid with a dirt bike.